prices in stores. It's this government with their carbon tax.
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everyone. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Fox. Justin Trudeau was in Waterloo, Ontario today to give more taxpayer money from the Liberal Housing Accelerator Fund to the municipality to not build more houses. And he couldn't help but throw shade at Pierre Poilievre and his chief advisor, Jenni Byrne.
Pierre Poilievre has been standing up for months now, pretending that he cares about high grocery prices faced by Canadians. And it turns out that his top advisor is working as a lobbyist for Loblaws. I think Mr. Poilievre owes some explanations to Canadians.
So the internet was soon ablaze with angry Canadians who were upset at the notion that one of Pierre's senior staff could be lobbying for grocery giant Loblaws, who many Canadians are blaming for the sharp increase in grocery prices in recent years.
However, and as usual, Trudeau didn't do his homework and is spreading disinformation to Canadians in an attempt to besmirch his primary political opponent. And he certainly wasn't counting on Northern Perspective to do the deep dive and bring you the truth. So you've all heard about government lobbyists, but what exactly are they?
Well, the current Lobbying Act defines lobbying as persons receiving paid compensation to communicate with public office holders about changes to government law, regulation, or programs, or to obtain a government contract.
The current Lobbyist Act and its related regulations came into law in 2008 under Stephen Harper. The act is based on 4 key principles. Number 1, free and open access to government is an important matter of public interest. Number 2, lobbying public office holders is a legitimate activity. Number 3, it is desirable that public office holders and the general public be able to know who is engaged in lobbying activities. And number 4, the system of registration of paid lobbyists should not impede free and open access to government.
Now that we know what a lobbyist is, we can understand why it would be concerning if Pierre's chief advisor, Jenni Byrne, was a lobbyist for Loblaws at a time when grocery prices are top of mind for most Canadians, and the operative word being if Pierre's chief advisor was a lobbyist. Let's take a look at the Federal Lobby Registry. So, as you can see here, Jenni Byrne's name is listed twice for an inactive lobby in 2020 for a company called Trident CBS Group. Both times, Byrne was pursuing a contract for Trident CBS Group's COVID-19 test kits. This is not related to Loblaws.
Now, the top entry lists a different individual, Simon Jeffries, as the lobbyist. But what's up beside his name? It's the name of a consulting firm. Jenni Byrne owns this consulting firm, which was hired by School Bus Ontario to lobby the government. Simon Jeffries was the individual doing the lobbying in this case.
So it's obvious that no work was done by either Jenni directly or her consulting firm with Loblaws. So what the heck is Trudeau even talking about?
Well, we went and had a look at the Ontario Lobby Registry, and we received 6 results that contain Jenni's consulting firm and Loblaws. However, Jenni herself is not listed among them as a lobbyist. So what's going on here?
When you click on any of the listed search results, you can find the details regarding the subject of the lobby. So in this case, cannabis, conservation, energy, liquor control, and alcohol.
Below this, you can see that they were lobbying for regulations involving, quote, the reduction of red tape within the cannabis sector to enable more secure retail spaces and facilitate more investment in the sector, end quote. That's not exactly anything to do with grocery prices. So once again, Trudeau is telling us half-truths to try to paint his narrative.
And it's funny because all he seems to want to talk about in question period is the leader of the opposition is peddling misinformation and disinformation. Notice he's always using both of them because he confused the definition the one time. And so he's using both of them now, so nobody can accuse him of that anymore. And just to draw everyone's attention to question period the other day, Sean Fraser told everyone that Pierre could just pick up the phone and call the lobbyist. And I don't think he really expected the retort from Andrew Scheer as to what the Liberals actually did even before all of this.
Mr. Speaker, families in my community do raise the cost of food as a very real concern. That's why we put forward measures like the grocery rebate. That's why we're introducing new reforms that will increase competition. But if the Conservatives would like to help, there's something the opposition leader can do. He can pick up the phone, because as I'm sure he knows, his chief advisor, Jenni Byrne, is actually a registered lobbyist for Loblaws in Ontario. Mr. Speaker, before the Conservatives sling arrows at this side of the House, I would invite the opposition leader to do what we all know is one of his favorite things. Take a look in the mirror.
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
This from a government who literally wrote a check on taxpayers' dollars to give Loblaws millions of dollars for new fridges. I'm going to correct the record there, Mr. Speaker. The minute, it's not families that are raising grocery prices in stores. It's this government with their carbon tax.
So you literally have $12 million of taxpayer money being given to Loblaws to buy them new fridges. And they want to come at the Conservatives for a lobbyist. But, this just, it illustrates the fact that because the Liberals cannot get anything concrete to actually criticize Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives on, they're literally poking at the peripherals and taking what they can, and then when they can't get anything concrete, they just make shit up.
Well, because Jenni was a registered lobbyist, there's nothing active in her name right now at the federal or at the provincial level here in Ontario. And she does have a consulting firm that lobbies for different companies and is currently lobbying for Loblaws. However, she's not involved in it. And the lobbying has absolutely nothing to do with grocery prices and everything to do with regulation of cannabis and alcohol.
Which, if you don't remember, Trudeau, you're the one who fought to put that law into place. So shouldn't you be actually thanking people like Jenni Byrne for advocating for more efficient process and less bureaucracy to get your own cannabis stores up and running? What exactly is your argument here?
But it still didn't stop the CBC from taking Trudeau's misinformation or disinformation and running with it.
Trudeau calls out Poilievre after top Conservative advisor is tied to Loblaw lobbying. That's it. That's the story.
And then they have the subheading, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accuses the opposition leader of quote-unquote pretending to care about high grocery prices. So again, this is one giant nothing burger that Justin Trudeau is trying to manipulate and twist and fit into his narrative that Pierre Poilievre is bad.
And people wonder, or no, I guess people don't really wonder, but the current president CEO of CBC wonders why viewership has gone down over the last 5 years, and she just thinks it's a trend. Yeah, it definitely is a trend, Miss Tate. The trend is that CBC reporting sucks, and all Canadians are noticing that the CBC is just a Liberal mouthpiece. But all of this is pretty ridiculous because you're criticizing for something that Jenni Byrne did in a previous life where she was a lobbyist, and she's not anymore. Meanwhile, you have a convicted felon as your environment minister. Between the two of them, I'll take the lobbyist.